Hello, welcome to the NFL Week 12 preview episode of Stacking the Box. Sterling, in this mug in my hand right now is coffee and the first Baileys of the holiday season.
Only the first?
Only the holidays officially kick off to me today. I mean, it's November 20th. I don't think I'm that late.
When do you think? Well, in fairness, it could be March 3rd. And what do you think's been in my cup the whole time?
Just straight Baileys? Just rum, liquor? Yeah.
Do you drink Baileys? Iain? Come on.
Do you drink Baileys? Are you a Baileys guy?
I do love Baileys, yes.
We need this show to be sponsored by Baileys. I am a big holiday drinker of Baileys.
Dog.
What's that?
My dog is named Bailey.
Because of that? That's hilarious.
No, not because of that. Different reason. Still, his name is Bailey.
Baileys and coffee is my drink of the holidays, and I'm having my first one right here on the show. So that means the holidays have officially begun. I almost wore my Santa Claus hat, Sterling, but I think it might be a little early for that. I think we got to get past American Thanksgiving before I can wear the Santa Claus hat.
American Thanksgiving, is that what Canadians call it now?
Well, Canadian Thanksgiving is in October. The correct time to have Thanksgiving.
No, why do you not give... Canadians should be giving thanks to Americans.
Okay. All right, got lots to talk about on today's episode. We are going to preview every single game for NFL Week 12. We're also going to talk, Sterling, I don't know if you know this, we're going to talk Monday Night Football in the show as well, because next week, Sterling, you have abandoned me. So we are only going to do next week one super episode of Stacking the Box. We are going to combine both Mondays and Wednesdays episode into just a Tuesday show. It'll be me and a future co-host that is yet to be determined. So that'll be on Tuesday. So because of that, we will talk Monday Night Football on this week's show, which will be the Harbaugh Bowl, which is going to be a fun game to watch. So we got 13 games to get through with 6 teams on bye, including my Atlanta Falcons who are on bye. And then we'll give out our best bets for this week, which started the season very hot. The last few weeks, not so hot. But before we get into all that, Sterling, Underdog, it's the best place to cash in on all your takes this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones are ice cold? Make your entries in just a few taps and turn your sports opinions into real money. Join over 5 million fans that are already playing on Underdog with their pick'em game. You can win money by making entries with your favorite players. Underdog is the best place to play champions. So sign up and deposit now using promo code Stacking the Box to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Stacking the Box is written all one word, no spaces. Stacking the Box. I don't have an Underdog lineup created just quite yet for Thursday night, but I do like. I'm going to go Nick Chubb lower than his rushing yards total. I don't have that number in front of me. I also like. I think my favorite lineup entry to put in for Underdog this week. George Pickens to have a longer reception than I guess it'd be a higher longest reception than 22 and a half yards, which he does almost every single week. Download the app today and use code Stacking the Box to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Higher or lower, you make the call on Underdog. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama, Bama, and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP, 1-800-639-8783, or text NEXT STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Thursday Night Football, Sterling, we will start there. It is the AFC North showdown between the Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. Steelers only a 3.5-point favorite despite being one of the hottest teams in the NFL this season. What are your thoughts overall on the Steelers against the Browns?
It feels like a game that the Steelers should win and should win pretty handedly, which gives me cause to pause. It's Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football, weird things happen.
Yep.
Everyone points to the Cincinnati Ravens game, right, as the high-scoring affair that, okay, maybe Thursday Night Football is fixed. It ain't fixed. That's the outlier. I expect a grinded-out, gross game. It's the AFC North. It's going to be physical. I get why the line is set at 3.5, and with the hook, I'm probably going to go with the Browns. Like that's the way I view this. I don't think the Browns are good, but anytime you get these divisional matchups, especially on Thursday night, weird things happen. Yeah, I think it's going to be ugly.
It is a short week. It is the AFC North, which is, unless it's Ravens, Bengals are always a shootout. Other AFC North games are always going to be a slugfest. So yeah, it does kind of feel like a game where if you trust your brain and just kind of look at the metrics overall, the Steelers should win and cover this game. But it does kind of have the sense of a gut feeling, short week, AFC North, Thursday Night Football. Weird things happen. Take the Browns and the points and hope for the best.
Yeah. Especially with Jameis Winston now at quarterback. He's found a nice connection with Jerry Jeudy. There's at least something to glean from that. Found the nice connection there. Again, the Browns are not a good team, but they are better with Jameis, at least offensively. The points are not really coming, but the yardage is, which we'll see if that leads to points going forward. But I expect it to be a more lower scoring game, but also one that's pretty darn close to the end.
With that being said, I'm still taking the Steelers because I have turned over the new leaf. I've picked against the Steelers almost every single week for the past 4 or 5 years, and I have lost a lot of money doing it because I continue to feel like the numbers don't add up to the record. They're always worse than the record shows, but yet they continue to win and cover in big games. So
I am now going with the Browns.
Yeah.
Because you said that.
You should.
You did with
but
the Chiefs
I've changed my tune on the Steelers. I've picked against the Steelers too much the past few years. I finally got on the Steelers side last week. It came through for me. I'm just going to be a Steelers guy. It's Mike Tomlin. They're too well coached. They're actually really good this year. Their defense is elite. Their offense is at least efficient. Russell Wilson has looked much better than he has in years. I'm just going to go Steelers.
My brain says yes. My brain does not agree with anything.
It is a brain
just
versus guts.
Said.
It's a brain versus guts game.
I'm also all in on the Steelers being good, by the way. And this game will not change my viewpoint of that. Thursday Night Football should not change your viewpoint on if a team is good or not.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to Sunday's games, I actually have an overall prediction for this week's NFL action, and maybe this includes Thursday Night Football, Sterling. I think we are going to see chaos this weekend because we have now seen several weeks where if you're just picking money lines, you're probably doing pretty good because the favorites win. They don't always cover, but for the most part, they win. We have not seen a crazy upset in a long time, it feels like. I don't even remember the last time it was a crazy upset. The first 2 weeks of the season, 3 weeks of the season, there's upsets all over the place. Since then, it's been favorites. This week has a ton of favorites, and I think some shocking upsets are going to happen.
It's bold.
If not, it's going to be a very boring week. This might be actually the worst slate of games all season.
Yeah, this is about the worst slate of game. Last week was great. A lot of really impactful games. Yep. This one, Monday Night Football is outstanding, but there's about 2 games. And Thursday Night Football should be at least good because it's the AFC North. Even though the Browns stink, at least the Steelers. But the Monday Night Football game is great. And there are like 2 games that you're like, oh yeah, I can't wait to watch that. And it's basically the NFC West. You're looking at the Eagles and the Rams. And then you're looking at the 2 other, you're looking at Seattle and Arizona. Yeah. And
49ers Packers. So really, I'm actually going to correct what I'm going to say. The early slate of Sunday afternoon games is the worst slate I've seen in a long time because primetime games are actually all pretty good. And the late afternoon slate, there's at least 2 interesting games. The early slate on Sunday is horrific.
Yeah, agreed.
I think almost every game is a 6-point favorite or more. I guess the Bears would be the only one that's less than that, be 3.5. So let's start with one game, and I wanted to say that, Sterling, because I'm not picking this team to win, but I would not be shocked if the Indianapolis Colts upset the Detroit Lions.
I would agree with that one. That's one of the games that I think the Colts have a lot to play for in regards that if they win, they're now in the playoff hunt, like legitimately. Anthony Richardson played that last game, and that should breed a ton of confidence as they march down the field, and he gets in for a game-winning touchdown. Jets are obviously a dumpster fire, but the defense is at least filled with some talented players. Mm-hmm. And for that to happen is impressive. Detroit's a great team. I think Detroit's the best team in the NFL right now. I don't know if you can deny that. But Richardson has that boom or bust play style that if he booms, you might see him competing with any team in the NFL. Now, it's very possible that they lose 35-3 because he throws 4 interceptions. But I'm with you, Ian. I almost want to go with the fun upside of AR in this one.
And I mean, I have the Detroit Lions. Has there ever been a team in more of a sell high spot right now than the Detroit Lions? And rightfully so. They're beating everyone. They're covering huge spreads. They were 14-point favorites last week, and they covered by 30 points. Like, the Lions look like a perfect team from top to bottom. They're now the Super Bowl favorites for the first time in franchise history. Everyone's saying the Lions are the team to beat. And as we know, not only in the NFL, but generally in professional sports, as soon as a team gets that status, they lose one that's shocking.
Yes.
And I do actually want to bring up an injury to the Lions that I don't think is being talked about enough this week. Is it Anzalone or just Anzalone?
I always thought it was Anzalone.
That's what I thought too. That's a huge injury for them.
Yeah.
Now they're down both Aiden Hutchinson and their best linebacker. Alex Anzalone is an extremely good linebacker. And now they've lost him for the season as well. You can only lose so many players on defense for the season before your defense starts to look worse.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is a game that the Lions should be on upset watch.
Yeah, this is a guy who last season had 129 tackles. Season before had 125. Little bit down in tackles so far this season, 56, but still an extremely impactful player. Has 7 tackles for a loss this year, 4 quarterback hits. His injury cannot be understated. So I'm just a little concerned about the Lions. All right, moving on. Let's talk about your Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, come on. I'll say this about the Chiefs, and then you can talk about them. The Chiefs have not done a good job at all in the Patrick Mahomes era of covering big spreads. If they don't cover the spread against the Panthers, I might be calling them frauds. It's the Panthers, Sterling. You're the back-to-back defending Super Bowl champions. You were undefeated until last week. You're coming off a loss. You got to steamroll the Carolina Panthers with Bryce Young. You have to.
They won't. You know how the Chiefs operate. It's gonna be like a 13-12 game, and everyone's gonna freak out, and then they get to the playoffs, and everyone goes, "Oh, they're frauds," and then they win the Super Bowl yet again. It's like this is, you know how it works. Like, they don't blow teams out. That's not in their DNA. Andy doesn't want to. The fraternity of coaches. Andy's not gonna show someone up. No, I expect this to be one of those games that you're pulling your hair out saying, how the heck is this even within 3 scores? But we all know it's going to be. Chiefs could be getting some help back with Charles Omenihu and Isaiah Pacheco. That'd be big. But what it really comes down to is the Panthers don't have a pass rush at all. And the Chiefs' offensive line, especially the tackles, have struggled. This should be a get-right game for the offensive line. That's what I'm watching as a Chiefs fan. And if you're a fan of... You okay there, Ian?
I didn't mean to adjust my seat that much. I meant to go down a little bit, and I went down all the way. Sorry, continue.
Ian just going down over there. I just want to see the offensive line actually do something and keep Pat upright and healthy. It's kind of like what I needed to see with the Texans. I think the Texans are a good team outside of their offensive line. The Texans' offensive line needed to get right. They got right. I don't know if it's going to continue, but that was the first step. This is a first step for Kansas City. That offensive line with the tackles, this is the first step.
I'm going to stick to what I said. I have not actually pushed the panic button on the Chiefs all season long. If they don't cover the spread against the Panthers, I'm pushing the panic button. It's the Carolina bleeping, as you would say, Panthers.
They've won 2 straight games.
Yeah, against the Giants and who was the other team? The Saints.
Some say they're on a heater. Well, the Saints beat the Falcons.
Not really. Final score says they beat them, but not really.
Oh, is that how we're doing it now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know the final score actually didn't matter. That's news to me. News to me.
Jose Rodriguez, he has a fantasy football question. We don't have Lior on the show today, so no fantasy football corner, but we will answer some fantasy football questions throughout. I need a wide receiver 2 and a number 1 flex. Lamb, Puka, AJ Evans. If that's Mike Evans, obviously. I mean, okay. So we're gonna completely rule out CD Lamb. He has Cooper Rush throwing him the football. The Eagles are playing against the Rams in the rain. Okay, so I would go AJ and Evans then. The Eagles secondary has been legit. I wouldn't want to take a Rams receiver against this Eagles secondary. And then, of course, you're going to take Mike Evans.
Puka goes out every single game with a minor injury and still somehow finishes like 9 receptions for 120 yards.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Until Puka doesn't do it, I'm probably going to roll with him. because his volume is so high that even if he gets held in check and doesn't score a touchdown, the receptions, if it's a PPR league, to me make it more palatable. Again, Evans obviously touchdown king, but he's more dependent on that than anything else. While again, Puka is a guy that PPR legend.
But if you need two, because he needs a wide receiver 2 and a flex, so you take Puka as 1. Are you going to AJ Brown or are you going to Mike Evans?
AJ Brown. I just got the same game.
Okay. Okay. Sunday Night Football. It'll be fun to root for them. I want to make it very clear the outcome that I'm rooting for this NFL season, almost as much as anything else. I hope the Chiefs at the very end of the season lose the number 1 seed. All you Chiefs fans get cocky. It's the playoffs. Patrick Holmes didn't even start playing till the playoffs. And then they, in the first round against like the Chargers or against like the Ravens, they lose 38-10. Oh, would that be? Oh, I would laugh. I would laugh. I would laugh. I would laugh.
Yeah, great joke, man.
It'd be funny. Is it going to happen? Absolutely not. Moving on to the Buccaneers and the Giants. 6-point favorites the Bucs are. They open as 3.5-point favorites. That line is ballooned because the Giants said, screw it. We actually don't want to win this season. We're going to start a guy whose nickname is Tommy Cutlets at quarterback. Because of that, Giants now 6-point underdogs. What are we doing with this game?
Ripping Tampa. Although, again, it's always the head coach gets fired or quarterback change. That first game is always a little bit risky. I don't think Tommy DeVito's the guy. I don't get why they didn't go to Drew Lock. Drew Lock at least has played pretty competent football in the NFL. I think Drew Lock is a gunslinger. I think he gives you the best opportunity to win, especially in a game like this. If you have Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson and some of these receivers, don't you want a guy who can throw the ball down the field? That would be Drew Lock. What is Tommy DeVito outside of a poor man's Daniel Jones? Like, seriously, like, what does he do better than Daniel Jones? At least Drew Lock, you could say, well, he has a stronger arm, better deep ball throw. Like, there are legit aspects of his game you could probably point to and say, well, I could see how this makes sense. You also brought in Drew Lock as a backup on a $5 million deal to kind of push Daniel Jones. So you sign him to an expensive backup QB deal and then decide to not use him? Oh, and I think I know the reason why. You know how I said I didn't know the reason why? I think I do. It's because the Giants are cheap as hell. He has some things in his contract where if he plays a certain amount of snaps, he gets a couple extra dollars. And when I'm talking a little bit extra, I'm talking like $250,000. $250,000 for the New York Giants franchise. Are you serious? You'll make that back in tickets in a game or two. Grow up.
Are you talking to Drew Lock or Daniel Jones?
Drew Lock has some in his contract. He's got some
interesting. Is that
incentives?
I didn't know that.
But you're already paying him $5 million. You're paying Daniel Jones $40+ million a year. This is where you draw the line. The Giants are a joke. They're a joke. You shouldn't be in New York. Oh, wait, you're not. You play in New Jersey because you don't act like a big market team. You act like you're a Green Bay Packers. Green Bay acts like a big market team while New York acts like a bunch of posers. They act like the Tampa Bay Rays without analytics. They're a joke.
I didn't know you were so passionate about the Giants. I guess you're defending your boy Drew Lock is what you're doing.
No, I'm defending football. I'm defending the fact, I hate the fact when teams do this, they don't want to play Daniel Jones because Daniel Jones' contract will kick in. They're going to release him or cut him and try and find a way to wiggle out of some money so he can't get injured. But you sign a backup quarterback who you think could have pushed Daniel Jones from the start, but DJ wins it out of camp. So you think the entire time Drew Lock is your backup quarterback. But because you want to save a couple extra bucks, you're not going to play him? What's that tell the rest of your players on the current roster, right? What's that tell those guys? You're throwing in the white flag. And what's it tell your fans? Soft. Charmin Ultra soft.
Tommy DeVito did go 3-3 last year. He beat the Packers.
Yeah, we saw how he played.
Yeah, not good. I took the Buccaneers. Thankfully, I took them at 5, so I got them at a little bit of a better number. Patriots and Dolphins. Are the Dolphins alive in the playoff race? I guess they are right now.
They are because they've already had their bye. So they're 4-6, right? Some of the teams like the Bengals are 4-7. I think the losses are just too much.
Bengals are 4-7. Jets are 3-8. So I mean, at this point, it's basically Colts, Dolphins can challenge the Broncos because the Ravens aren't falling out. The Chargers aren't falling out. So it's going to be the final spot. The Broncos are 6-5. They do have some toughish games, although winning last week was huge for Denver.
Massive.
And then Colts and Dolphins.
Yeah, the Dolphins, I hate saying must-win games, especially when it's clearly not a must-win game. One of my pet peeves in sports. But if they want to have a chance, it might be.
Yeah, kind of is.
Like, it legitimately might be. Especially when you consider the Patriots, who, I get it, it's a divisional game. They're not good. They're not as bad as I think people thought they were going to be because Drake May is at least entertaining, right? Drake May is at least a solid quarterback for a rookie. You're seeing some momentum there, but you got to win if you're Miami to keep any of your playoff hopes and dreams alive. Because if you lose this game, then you're going to have to win out. And I haven't looked at the rest of the schedule.
They got some tough games. They got the 49ers. They got the Packers. They got some tough games.
You really need to win this game.
Yeah, for sure. Although, shout out Drake May. He's doing quite a bit when you consider he has no offensive line and no weapons.
Yeah, it's impressive.
If he had some weapons and some offensive line, he's playing well enough. He could have been offensive rookie of the year, but you can only do so much with a bottom 3 offensive line and a bottom 3 skill position group. Not good. The Titans and the Texans. Sterling, I am addicted to betting on the Tennessee Titans. They have the worst spread record in the NFL right now. I think they're 1-9 against the spread, and I've bet on them almost every single week. And here I am again. I want to not only bet on them, I think they might upset the Texans.
Yeah, you said this the past 3 weeks. And,
I know, and I keep taking them.
I get your obsession with their defense, and this is one game where I would actually tend to agree because the Houston Texans offensive line, they did have a get-right game, last game for Houston, but I still have some concerns with the Texans O-line. That is the only reason, in my opinion, that is keeping this Texans team from really taking it to the next level. They're just not good. They can't block for C.J. Stroud. Joe Mixon now has been great on the ground, and they've been outstanding opening up running lanes. But in pass protection, that's where the issues arise. Tennessee,
also, Nico Collins makes a huge difference.
Correct.
Which we saw on Monday night.
Correct. And Tennessee has a good defense. But I ain't going against Houston. I'm not rolling with Tennessee. I'm not going with Will Levis. I'm not doing it. Their offense is so inept, there's zero chance I can rock with it.
I watch the Titans every single week, and I see a team that looks better than the final score indicates, but it's every single week. It's like last week, it was the Vikings were down 4th and goal, and they threw a pass, and then the Titans got a phantom penalty that even the commentators were like, that's not a penalty. But then that gave the Vikings 1st and goal. They scored a touchdown, and that was pretty much. And it seems like that happens every week. Or sometimes it is their fault. Sometimes a punt gets blocked, or they allow a big kick return touchdown, or Will Levis turns the ball over on his own 5-yard line. But it just seems like every week there's 2 plays that if they just don't do, they're in the game, but then they do those 2 plays every single week and then they lose by 14 points. So I keep convincing myself that, hey, maybe this week they won't shoot themselves in the foot twice.
Well, because their mistakes aren't giving up a field goal or, keeping a drive alive. It's you do it on 4th down, which I guess technically keeps the drive alive, but you immediately give up 7, right? It's not a case where you have a brutal penalty and then all of a sudden you pick up a 3rd and 18. They don't.
Right.
They're legitimate 7 to 14 point swings each game. That was a brutal call that went against them. That's why I just say when anyone thinks the NFL's a conspiracy, the refs just suck. No one cares because it's the Titans, but that was an absolute screw job. But it's the Titans, so no one cares. The NFL refs just have a very hard job, by the way. A very difficult job.
It's a difficult sport to ref.
Which I never understand why they don't give them more help. Hey, up top, pick up the flag or throw a flag here. It makes zero sense. We complain every single week, yet no one has any in the NFL ideas to help these guys out. It's ridiculous.
They've started doing that this season. They get calls from wherever to tell them to change the plays, but I don't understand when they can use that and when they can't. Because sometimes the announcers are oh yeah, they can't get the immediate fix in on this play, but then a play 3 plays ago, then they could use that. So why can't they just do that every play and on every type of call?
Yeah, I don't. It's because
especially the ones that are blatantly obvious either are or are not a penalty. It should be immediately called down, and then the ref's just no flag on the play.
Yeah, because it makes too much sense, Ian.
Yeah. But like I said, sometimes they do that, and then other times they're like, no, we can't in this situation. I just don't get why. Yeah. All right. The Cowboys and the Commanders, 10.5 point spread in favor of the Commanders. I'll say this about Cooper Rush. He kind of looked a little bit better last week. He threw for 350 yards against the Titans.
No, don't. He had one throw that went for like 85 yards on a slant. Turpin did the entire thing. Wasn't it Turpin, I think, that caught it?
Yep. Fastest recorded player so far this season.
Yeah, Cooper Rush didn't look good. Like, I don't think he looked good. He didn't look horrendous, but he did not look good.
No. I think he looked better than he did the week before.
I think Trey Lance should be the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, you are a Trey Lance believer.
Well, no, because what are you learning from a 30-year-old who you know what he is? You know who Cooper Rush is. You know what he's going to do. He's 30. He's not part of your future plans. He's not part of your current plans. What is Trey Lance? You brought him in. See what he is. I don't understand this.
There is so much noise outside my apartment in New York right now. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's chaos going on outside.
Yeah, they're going for you. They saw your goatee and go, get that man.
I'm going to say this now. We usually save picks till the end of the show, but I can't really talk about this game unless I give my pick away. I'm taking the Cowboys.
What is going on out there? Is someone trying to rob you?
I don't think it's gunshots. It might be gunshots. Give me a second.
Okay, so Iain might be getting shot up right now, and I hope you're not, by the way, because then I have to find a new co-host, and that just seems like a big ordeal.
Yeah. I did have my window open because, once again, my apartment has shut off AC in the building, even though it's still I'm going to say Celsius. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, but it's like 20 degrees here every day, and AC hasn't been on for a month. So I have to have my window open so I don't melt, but then noises happen, and now I have to shut it. I'm taking the Cowboys in the points this week. Now is the time, Sterling. I have a theory, and it's not a theory, it's been proven. But Cliff Kingsbury, in the second half of teams that he coaches, have continuously, for a decade, underperformed. There was a tweet I saw on about it was his record in first half of the season. I think it was weeks 1 to 7 and the rest of the week when he was at Texas Tech, when he was at Arizona, and we're seeing flashes of it with his offense the past couple of weeks with Washington. I don't know what it is. I don't know if Cliff Kingsbury has a week 1 playbook and doesn't adjust it whatsoever. Producer Sean has a good point too. Jaden Daniels played worse since the rib injury. So we got a Jaden Daniels injury that's bothering him. We got Cliff Kingsbury, who for a decade has one of the best records in whatever league he's coaching in the first 7 weeks, and then one of the worst from week 8 onwards. And now they're laying 10.5 points. I'm not going to say the Cowboys are going to win this game outright, but I don't want to lay 10.5 points on an injured Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury, who falls asleep in the second half of the NFL season.
Yeah, I would take the Cowboys with the points. I'm with you there.
All right, glad you agree. It's ugly. Cowboys stink, but
I don't think they win. But will they lose by 7? Yeah, they might even lose by 10. That's still a cover.
Yep. Producer Sean coming in with a stat here. During his head coaching stint in Arizona, Kingsbury was 15-5-1 in the first 7 games of each season. In the remaining games, his record was 8-18. Yeah, there you go. And that was the same thing when he was the head coach of Texas Tech too.
Does not adjust.
I don't know what it is. It's baffling. All right, moving on. The Vikings and the Bears. Are you surprised it's only a 3.5 point spread?
No, I think the bettors might have this one right. I am considering going with the Bears outright in this one. This feels like upset city. The Chicago offense looked a little better, obviously, with the firing. Was it Luke Getsy who was out as OC? They fired their OC.
Jay Waldron was fired.
Was it Waldron?
Yeah.
Okay. Fired Waldron. I kind of feel like this is a situation when the Bears bounce back. They weren't able to get it done. Blocked field goal. Atrocious decision making. I always hate that. Why do teams settle for 45-yard field goals to begin with? What are we doing here? You had time. You had timeouts, and you're going to settle for a 45-yard field goal? That's just stupid game management. But it feels like a bounce back situation for the Bears. I'm considering taking them outright in this one.
Luke Getsy was the Bears offensive coordinator last year, was the Raiders offensive coordinator this year, and then got fired a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to take the under in this one because I don't want to bet on the Bears offense because they stink. And I also don't really want to bet on the Vikings offense against the Bears defense. The Bears defense has been, especially their secondary, has been elite. I think their secondary might cause Sam Darnold to see some ghosts. So low total, 39. Don't care. I'm going to take the under. I don't want to bet on either offense. If I had to pick a side, I'd probably take the points with the Bears.
There we go.
Broncos, Raiders. Broncos -5.5. How good are the Broncos, Sterling? Are they a good team? I've bet the Broncos a lot this season. I've been believers in them. I've been a Bo believer. But now we're getting to the territory where it's like, okay, we actually have to decide: are they like legitimately an actual good team, or are they just undervalued heading into the season?
I don't know. You tell me. They kicked the Falcons' ass.
Well, the Falcons suck. So, by the way, I guess I'll address that now. Matthew, how are your Falcons doing? Ian? Not good, dude. Not good. Yeah, Matt, I'm not going to be optimistic anymore. The season's done. The Buccaneers are going to come back and win the NFC South. It's over.
And I'm never going to get the apology from the Falcons fans that ripped on me to start the season. I'm never going to get that.
No, because what you said was objectively wrong. We've had this argument 18 times already.
Yeah, and I've been right every single time. It's okay. It's okay. I'll never get the apology that I deserve.
Well, I thought that we were going to, because the Falcons aren't buying, not have to talk about the Falcons. So I'm going to switch it back to the Broncos against the Raiders. All right. How are the Broncos good? Yes, they killed the Falcons. They actually almost beat the Chiefs too. So relax.
Yeah. I want to see them. It's almost like the Steelers earlier on in the season. I needed to see them beat like a good team. And then once they beat the Ravens, I'm like, okay, I'm in on the Steelers. The Steelers are a good team. They're a playoff team. They're competitive. They have a chance. Broncos, I'm not quite there yet. Bo Nix has been very impressive. I mean, extremely impressive. I was not a Bo Nix guy, and even earlier in the year, you were seeing him miss a lot of wide open throws.
He's gotten better.
He's gotten a lot better. Now, I know that Falcons defense is atrocious, but I saw firsthand against the Chiefs. Now, I get they only scored 14 points, so it's a little bit of, come on, pump the brakes here. But Bo Nix has impressed me, man. Like, that deep ball to Cortland Sutton was tasty. The defense is good. Clearly, Sean Payton knew what he wanted in a quarterback. This was supposed to be a brutal rebuilding year for Denver because of the Russell Wilson contract and the cap hit and losing Justin Simmons and all that stuff. They've rebounded nicely, and they're playing some damn good complementary football. You don't know what running back's going to start. Javonte Williams, McLaughlin, Estime. They're kind of rotating him in. It was Estime against the Chiefs. It was Javonte Williams against the Falcons. They keep you on your toes, and they don't make a ton of stupid mistakes. I think they're a good, not great, but a good team.
Yeah, in this game specifically, we got arguably the worst offense in the NFL in the Raiders. Raiders ranked dead last in EPA, going up against one of the best defenses in the Broncos, who just kept the Falcons to 6 points. So I'm shocked this is not a spread of over a touchdown. Shout out Captain Joe King. Thank you for watching and listening. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think this one's pretty straightforward, but also this is one where everyone is betting on the Broncos, which makes me nervous. I don't believe in trap games. They don't exist. If there was a trap game, this seems like a trap game. But I just don't see how you can justify picking the Raiders.
Brock Bowers going off last week. I mean, seriously, Brock Bowers went off.
And the Broncos historically, actually, this season have not done well defending tight ends.
So
I think Brock Bowers already had a big game against them, right? Have they played one? So something tells me they've. Yeah, earlier in the season, Broncos won 34-18. Brock Bowers had 8 catches, 97 yards, and a touchdown. I wish the Falcons didn't draft a tight end, Kyle Pitts, a few years ago, waited until this year, and then got Brock Bowers. That would have been nice.
Yeah, this is you can read this comment because it says
little off topic. This is Captain Joe King. Little off topic, but I'll bet my house Bowers will have a better career than Kelsey. I mean, look again what he's doing with Minshew. Imagine with Shador next year. I like it. I like the take, and you know what? I might agree.
Okay.
Who's had a better rookie season? Brock Bowers or Travis Kelce?
Travis Kelce played one snap his rookie year on special teams.
And Brock Bowers is having a better rookie
injured.
season. So Brock Bowers having a better rookie season. He's 1 year. 1 year he's 1 year ahead already.
I am all in on Brock Bowers, but I am not betting my house saying he's going to be wherever your thoughts are on Travis Kelce. He's clearly a top 3 tight end all time. I don't, at worst, he's third, right? I don't care what people's thoughts are, but at worst, Travis Kelce's third. It's Kelce, Tony Gonzalez, and Rob Gronkowski. I don't really think there's even an argument for anyone else.
Bates?
Yeah, but see, I don't think that's a legitimate argument. I really don't. If you want to go through everything and pull it up, feel free.
Tight ends are just so like the position has just evolved so much. It's kind of so hard.
But Kelce, and that's why Kelce almost helped evolve the position to an extent.
Sure.
Right. So to me, you're saying that Brock Bowers has to, at a minimum, be a top 3 tight end in the history of the NFL. I don't know if I can get there, but what he's doing so far is so impressive. I mean, Kelce had 7 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons, right? That's staying healthy. That's being productive. That's being the guy for 7 straight years. Let me get to year 3 or 4 of Brock doing that before we start making that. But I do like the call. I think it's a fun take. I think it's an interesting take. I don't necessarily believe it, but if you went back to this in 12 years, I don't think I'd be shocked.
Brock Bowers in 8 years will be dating Sabrina Carpenter, following the footsteps of Kelce of dating pop star. How about that?
That's a good one.
I like that take.
You know what? Good take.
Thank you. All right, moving on. We got the 49ers and the Packers. Are you surprised the 49ers are underdogs in this game? Or have they finally done enough where it's like, okay, maybe they aren't actually that good?
No, of course they should be underdogs in this game. What do you mean?
I still believe in the 49ers.
I get it. I kind of do too. And you took it. We'll get to it later on. But like,
don't spoiler alert.
I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just saying I'm with you with the Niners. Not quite as bullish as you are on San Fran, but I'm with you. They're better than the record says, and all because we're looking at the talent. We're looking at that team. And I had an interesting conversation with Aaron Schatz yesterday, the creator of DVOA, very analytical guy.
Ooh.
And he came out and basically said that, for example, Andy Reid led teams, Mike Tomlin led teams, they consistently win more games than they're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And don't we agree those are 2 Hall of Fame incredible head coaches?
Yes.
Like, so coaching matters, right? They consistently do better than sometimes the underlying numbers say they should. Kyle Shanahan and San Fran's been the complete opposite, not just this year, but pretty much throughout Shanahan's career.
Mm.
He wasn't saying that he's a bad head coach by any means. Like, I mean, that's not necessarily where he was getting with. But there is something to the fact that they do this kind of often, where the numbers underlying look incredible.
Yeah.
And yet sometimes it just feels like there might be something missing.
He has blown a lot of late leads.
He has blown a lot of late leads. He didn't understand the rules in the Super Bowl for overtime, which was, how do you not know that? And then this year, it might just be a continuation. Like, I think they're a really talented, good team. I think Shanahan is still a good coach, but I think there might be a little something to that. So until the Niners start proving again that they are the San Fran 49ers of old, this might just be the new iteration of them.
Yeah, my one of the reasons so I am taking San Francisco, one of the reasons I am concerned about the Packers is, and I don't think enough people are talking about this, Jordan Love has kind of been average this year. Actually, statistically, he's been very average. EPA plus CPOE composite, he's 15th in the NFL, 1 spot below Kirk Cousins, 1 spot above Geno Smith. Adjusted EPA per play, he's 11th, so a little bit better than that, but still, below the likes of Baker Mayfield and Derek Carr. Jordan Love was kind of a popular pick heading into the season to be the NFL MVP, and he's not even been close to those expectations. He's not having a bad year, but he's not looked nearly as good as he did in the second half of last season, and a lot of it has been interceptions. I think he has 11 interceptions already this year, and still, he's very young, second year as a starter. I'm not saying, give up and sell your Jordan Love stock, but when we're talking about close games for the Packers against good teams, it's something to know.
I have said this heading into the year, and people kind of called me a Jordan Love hater. I think Jordan Love's a good quarterback, but I don't think he was this great quarterback. I didn't think he deserved the MVP hype being praised upon him. He was really good in the playoffs, besides the one game, right? And so everyone's like, "Oh, Jordan Love, he's taking the next step." I'm like, don't let that be your next. That's going to be the average game for Jordan Love going forward.
Right.
The inconsistencies of Jordan Love were my concern, and those still ring true. We've seen him have a game where it was like 5 touchdowns thrown and 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
Like, it's the highs, it's the lows. He's maybe the highest variance of any quarterback in the NFL. Like maybe it's Anthony Richardson, but Jordan Love is definitely up there because he's close to the top of interceptions. Well, he's also missed a couple games too. He's one of those guys where if you're down in a game, you love him because he can bring you back because he is a gunslinger. But if you're ahead in a game, I think you're almost scared to have him as your quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think to your point, I think this happens every single year where if, there's a player or a couple players or a team or two who finish the season very hot heading into the next year, like those are the popular like dark horse teams. And I think the Packers were a perfect example of that. A team that obviously finished very hot, beat the Cowboys in a blowout in the first round last year. People just completely forget what they were like in the first half of the season. So,
yep.
But once again, not to say that they're bad, but
agreed.
Yeah, they kind of are what they are. Cardinals and the Seahawks. NFC West is obviously fascinating. The Cardinals have the lead in the NFC West at 6-4. If the Seahawks beat the Cardinals in what is a coin flip game by the odds makers, and the Rams beat the Eagles and the 49ers beat the Packers, all four teams in the NFC West will be at 6-5, which is crazy. Now that's going to take a bit because both the 49ers and Rams are underdogs, but they're not big underdogs. It could happen.
It's the division of good. No one's great, but no one's bad. All four teams are solid, and I think all four teams are built differently.
Yep. Well, I'd say every team is better offensively than defensively, though.
Sure. I think San Fran's the most balanced. I think the Rams are a little more balanced than Arizona, who's almost predominantly offense first, although the defense has been a bit of a surprise, right?
Yep.
Seattle is led by more of the outside of Matt Stafford. The veteran quarterback probably has the best wide receivers overall. I think we would have said San Fran, but Ayuk's taken a step back, has been injured. Deebo Samuel hasn't done it a ton. I mean, Jawant Jennings may be San Fran's most consistent wide receiver at this point. I guess, Cooper Kupp, but he's been injured. Puka Nacua was great, but goes out. It's just, they're all very interesting teams. I think health has been a big deal for almost all the teams, maybe outside of Arizona. Am I missing something here with Arizona? Because even DK Metcalf missed a couple games with was an MCL strain, something along those lines. It's anytime I think the Rams are done, they come back from they're the Undertaker coming back.
Yep.
Arizona, I was high in coming into this season. San Fran's been a disappointment, and Seattle's been who they are. A slightly above average team over the past couple seasons ever since Geno Smith took over.
I'd say the Cardinals a little bit more balanced. I think they can run the ball better than Seahawks. The reason why I like the Cardinals in this game is because the Cardinals' defense at the start of the year was horrific. Their defense has gotten better. The Seahawks are the opposite. The Seahawks' defense was good at the start of the year. They've gotten bad recently. So based on, kind of two teams trending in opposite directions, at least defense is trending in opposite directions, and Arizona coming off the bye, I do like the Cardinals here.
I do too.
Which is actually a popular pick, which makes me a little nervous.
Agreed. Well, everyone's now getting on my Cardinals bandwagon.
Yeah.
They were my team.
Yeah, you're a Cardinals hipster.
I rolled with the Texans last year, and people called me crazy. I rolled with the Arizona this year. People called me crazy. Now everyone's rolling with these guys. I'm like, come on. Yep. Let me win my money all by myself. I'm trying to be a hoarder over here.
Yep. Sunday Night Football. Like I said earlier, actually, the primetime games this week are actually pretty solid. Fun one here on Sunday night, or at least it seems like it's going to be a fun one. Eagles, Rams 2.5-point home underdogs. The Eagles, one of the hottest teams in football, still very much alive in the race for the number one seed in the NFC. They have a little bit of a firm grasp now on the NFC East. Meanwhile, the Rams, as we just talked about, they're probably going to have to win the division in the NFC West to make the playoffs with how the wild card race is looking in the NFC. But NFC West still very much in the picture, only a game back from the Cardinals. So a bit of a fun one. We got Jalen Hurts, we got Matt Stafford, we got A.J. Brown, we got Puka Nacua, we got Saquon Barkley. Going to be a fun one on Sunday night.
Fly, Eagles, fly on a road to victory. Yeah, I'm going with the Eagles here. I think a lot of people would have said heading into this year, the Eagles secondary is going to be buns yet again.
And they were at the start of the year.
They were. They would have been right. And then, as Sean pointed out a couple weeks ago, they put Cooper DeJean into the slot.
Yep.
And things have changed and changed quick for this Eagles defense. I'm rolling with Philly.
Cooper DeJean's a real scrappy player. He's a real gym rat. Some will call him deceptively fast. Coach's son. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Does he bring his lunch pail to work?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, gritty. Actually, underrated storyline, though. The other rookie in the defensive backfield for the Eagles, Quinyon Mitchell. This is actually a battle between the two favorites right now to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Jared Verse of the Rams is the -160 favorite. Quinyon Mitchell is second on the odds list at +210. Then there's a huge drop off, and then a bunch of guys at 25-1. So it's going to be Verse or Quinyon Mitchell. This game could certainly play a pretty big role in that, especially if Quinyon Mitchell has a good game covering Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. That's a pretty big statement. I'm just going to say it right now because we're getting close to picks anyways. This pet bet that I have on Eagles Rams, not only my favorite bet of the week, it might be my favorite bet of the 2024 NFL season. I got it at a little bit of a better number than what it's available right now. I love the under. I got it at under 50. It's dropped a point to under 49 because professional bettors and sharps see exactly what I'm seeing. I'm smart. I think this is going to be a defensive battle. When I placed my bets on Monday night, I saw the totals at 50 in this game. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. These two teams in the last 6 or so weeks have been number 1 and number 2 defensively. In terms of, I think it's opponent EPA, number 1 and number 3. Sorry, I think. Rams pass rush has been very good. Eagles secondary, as we just talked about, has been extremely good. Also, the Rams red zone offense has been terrible. They can't get the ball in the end zone when they get the red zone. That's what cost them the game against the Dolphins a couple weeks ago. Every sign that I look at points to this being a defensive battle, but I think it's because of the names on offense on both sides, people assume it's going to be a high-scoring game. But when I look at the metrics and the underlying numbers for these teams, especially the last 5 or 6 weeks, it's been all defense. And both teams' defenses seem to line up well with what the opposing offense does well.
Yeah, I think that's what it is right there. Both teams' defenses, they're in a lockstep with the other team's strength really is.
Yeah. All right, Monday Night Football. We got to quickly touch on this since it is since we don't have a Monday show. It's the Harbaugh Bowl. It is the Ravens. It's the Chargers. Two teams who will almost certainly be in the playoffs in the AFC. But the winner of this game will still be alive in their division. The loser of this game pretty much toast in terms of winning their division, because I know the Chiefs probably going to win the AFC West, but I mean, if the Chargers get to 8-3, that's only 2 games back.
Yeah. I think the big winner in this is khakis. Whoever wins khakis is kind of the undefeated champ here. I like this game because the Chargers defense is elite, right? They're a really good defense, although they struggled against the Bengals. I think that was the outlier, right? I think that was kind of the outlier. Justin Herbert is doing a really good job of maneuvering in the pocket because Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt's giving him all day. The offensive line for the Chargers is letting Herbert have so much confidence back there to rifle the ball in, using his legs when he needs to. Ladd McConkey's looking like, again, I told everyone, Ladd McConkey is going to be the wide receiver 1 of this Chargers team. They are going to find a connection. He is going to be an absolute stud. He is. And also, it's nice to see Quentin Johnson and kind of have a little bit of an emergence here, right? Because last year, everyone was saying Quentin Johnson's a bust. I kind of agreed, but Johnson's really cut back on the drops. He's looked a lot better. And then Disley. Disley was a block-only tight end for Seattle, and now he looks like a legitimate receiving threat for this Chargers team. They can run the football. They're a very well-balanced team. Baltimore is great, but they have a lot of variance in their game. Part of it's because of the weakness in their secondary, right? So they can get torched and give a lot of points. And if Derrick Henry in the run game is not going great, well, you kind of saw what happened last week against the Steelers. That offense can grind to a halt. I think the Chargers are the more consistent team, but the Ravens come in with a lot more upside if things go right.
Last time these two brothers coach against each other was Super Bowl 47. John obviously won that game with the Ravens against Jim and the 49ers. Although, if you remember, that was a weird game. The Ravens were dominating them. The power then went out for like 20 minutes. Yeah. And then after that, the 49ers got hot and made a comeback, but the Ravens didn't end up holding on and winning by a field goal. My thing to watch in this game, Sterling, is penalties. The Baltimore Ravens lead the NFL in penalties, 92 penalties. That's 10 more than the next worst team when it comes to penalties. Also, they have 763 penalty yards. That is 74 more yards than the next worst team. Crazy. Unbelievable. Meanwhile, the Chargers are actually one of the least penalized teams in the NFL. I think they have the 4th or 5th fewest. So Fourth fewest penalties. They have 53, and they're fourth. Their defense obviously very good as well.
What's funny is it kind of makes sense though, doesn't it? Doesn't it seem like both the Harbaughs kind of operate that way? The Ravens are a little more aggressive, while the Chargers are a little more, we're doing the little things. We're gonna do it this way. It's kind of interesting there.
So I think that's something to look out for in this game. Penalties, and for that reason, I'll take the home team getting a field goal worth of points. All right, picks for this week. Last week, not good. I think we both went 1-2 last week. Your Chiefs let me down. Your Bengals are not your Bengals, but the Bengals looked like they're about to cover for you. Win. They did not. So we both lost in our spread. We both won our total bets last week. I barely won Packers-Bears. Thank you to the Packers blocking that last-second field goal, or I would have lost. And you took Ravens-Steelers under 48, which was a clear winner. Sweat-free winner there on the Ravens-Steelers under.
Easy.
Both our upsets lost. I took the Titans once again, and you took my Falcons. So
thanks, Ian.
Yeah, both of our teams let down the other guy.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, picks for this week. Start with spread. Go ahead.
I'm going to go with the Eagles. 2.5 point favorites. I'm rolling with that. I think they cover. You heard my thoughts on Philly. I think they win by at least a field goal.
I will take the Cowboys. I talked about it earlier. I'm going to fade Cliff Kingsbury in the second half of the season. Favorite total bet, I already gave out mine. I said Eagles, Rams under. I'll take the most recent number. It's 49. I personally bet it at 50, but I'm a man of integrity. That number is not available anymore, so I'll take the current available number of 49.
I like the New England, Miami under 46. That seems entirely too high.
And then upset pick of the week, I already said mine, 49ers, but you are going to go with Thursday Night Football. You're taking the Browns.
Yeah, I'm taking the Browns. I switched it. I originally was going with Chicago, so I can't wait for Chicago to win. You're welcome, because I moved away from Chicago. Going with Cleveland. Again, Thursday Night Football. I think the Steelers are a really good team. This does not affect my opinion whether they win or lose, but I think Thursday Night Football, divisional game, give me the Browns.
And really quick, I know we got to run, but I'll just answer this. Dave Flynn, what's going on, fellas? Would you drop Tucker Kraft for MVS? Disley, I'm guessing that means, is my other tight end. Wide receivers, Debo, Adams, Pickens, Addison, Johnston. I wouldn't. I think MVS is very high ceiling guy. He's had a couple good games, but I don't think he's going to show consistent numbers.
I don't think you're using either of those players at all. Yeah. And you might as well keep a backup tight end in case something happens to Disley, I guess. But I don't think you're going to ever use MVS.
Nailed it. Agree 100%. All right. Thank you all so much for watching, listening, and subscribe to Stack in the Box on YouTube. I will be back with an undetermined co-host next Tuesday. Sorry, Sterling, I got to look up what time that show. I think we're doing 9:30. I think we're doing the same time as Monday shows, except for Tuesday. So Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, we're going to do a super show recapping week 12 and getting you ready for week 13, including American Thanksgiving Day. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll talk to you next week.